Hi, welcome to episode 4 of the Legal Perspectives podcast. In this mini podcast episode, we're going to be talking about how to set your LDA pricing. Let's start. We will identify the factors that should be considered when setting the pricing for your business services. We do this to ensure that you're running a profitable, self-sustaining business so that your doors remain open for years to come, and so you can meet your business goals as well, whatever those goals may be. So let's get started. Let's talk about pricing and profits. Your pricing will be dependent on what service are you providing and how are you delivering that service. So for example, if you're providing family law services and do uncontested divorce paperwork, how are you providing that service to the clients? In addition, if you're doing trust and estate document preparation, how are you delivering that service? One service is going to be different than the other, and they all have their own set of pricing. Your pricing will also be dependent on your level of education and experience. And third, your pricing can also be dependent on what are your future business goals and what are your overhead expenses in your business. Let's go into more detail on the first point. What service are you providing? How much value does that service give to the public? How will you deliver those services? Are you going to offer virtual services or are they going to be in-person services? Deciding to offer virtual services will have different costs associated as opposed to having a brick and mortar location where you actually see clients. Depending on how you deliver your services, you may have to account those different expenses when coming up with a pricing for your services. Another thing that can be dependent on what you charge for your services is what city you're in. There are some cities where, let's say, for example, there's many LDAs in that county and the market sets what the price will be. So sometimes what you charge in your business is going to be dependent on what other people are charging in your neighborhood. So when coming up with a price strategy, you have to think about the level of difficulty or the number of interactions that are required to complete the work. So level of difficulty, I'm referring to doing an uncontested divorce has different tasks and requirements as opposed to doing a full-blown trust plan for the clients. And then the number of interactions, how many times are the persons going to call you, want to meet with you, and take up your time? You want to take all of that into consideration when determining what to charge based on the amount of time it takes from you. Remember, time is money and you want to charge accordingly. Also take into account, is the work intense? Does it require deadlines? Do you get a lot of rush projects in the services that you deliver? Does the project require focus, time, and attention? So you have to block out, certain hours of the day, and that limits how much work you can bring in per day. So when certain projects take longer or require more of your time, obviously you're going to want to charge more. On the other hand, if the projects are easy, perhaps you already have a template, you've done these multiple times before, you can do them with your eyes closed. They're repetitive projects. For example, quitclaim deeds are easy to prepare once you get all of the information from the clients. They're one-pagers. You may be able to charge a decent price for it because you're doing it all of the time and it doesn't require too much meetings, phone calls, emails back and forth. It's pretty direct. But remember, when projects are easier to complete, you may be able to complete them more quickly. And so for these types of projects, you might want to charge a little bit less. But please note, if a project was quick to complete simply because of the high level of skill and knowledge that you have, then at that point you want to charge accordingly and according to the value that you're providing to the client, and not necessarily based on the time it took you to complete that project. Because you don't want to be in a position where you're selling yourself short and not charging enough for your services and for the value that you're bringing to the client. Okay, so let's move on to point number 2. Your pricing should be dependent on your level of education and experience as a professional. What kind of degree, certifications, education do you currently have? Are you currently enrolled in training programs? Maybe you attend multiple MCLE programs throughout the year and you take pride in your education and you pay for those curriculums and courses and seminars. How many years of experience do you have in your field? How experienced you are in doing the specific work that you plan to perform is going to be something you want to take into consideration when setting your pricing, because it's important to set up your pricing accurately because you want to get paid for the actual value that you're providing the client, again, regardless of how long it's taking you to complete these projects. Also, you want to take into account when pricing your services what your business goals are. What are your plans for the future? So in order to be successful, you have to have a profitable business. At a bare minimum, you should charge accordingly to get paid so that the gross income that your business is receiving exceeds your expenses and you're left with a profit. Making a profit will allow you to put money back into the business to finance your goals, such as hiring an employee, expanding your business services and locations, and ensuring that you are still successful for many years to come. To summarize, pricing and profits are some of the main factors in running a successful business. Your pricing will depend on many factors, including what services you're providing, how are you delivering those services, your level of education and experience, and also what your business goals are. Coming up with a good pricing strategy will help you earn the profit you need to ensure that you'll run a successful business. I hope that this provided you with information and at least you were able to get some insight on setting your pricing to earn a profit.